morning. It's Saturday morning, beautiful morning outside. Sun is shining, it's not raining. Didn't rain yesterday. Uh, and my son Michael was over here this morning and I fixed some grilled ham and cheese sandwiches. He had a couple for breakfast. And so I have some pork loin thawed out and I'm going to make later for him today for supper tonight. I'm going to make him a pork chop and potato casserole, and I just thought I would show you how I do that. I've shown you how I buy my whole pork loins and cut them, but I'm going to show you again today. And it's going to have onion, it's going to have potatoes and cream and mushroom soup, salt, pepper, seasonings. So I just thought I would bring you along and show you how I'm going to do that. I've already got a couple of potatoes peeled. Now there's two ways you can do this. You can use your little vegetable peeler here, and you can do it that way, but this is the way that Mama always did it, and it's the easiest way for me. My daughter Jill, she always uses the vegetable peeler. I call it potato peeler, but it's a vegetable peeler. So I just, you get a little bit more of the potato when you peel it this way than you do when you use this. Because when you use this, it just kind of scrapes just the very peeling off. And you can use the peeling on it, but since I'm making it for Mike, and then some people do it this way, use in the kitchen. So see, it peels it either way. You just get less of the potato if you do it with a peeler. And if I, but I just thought I would bring y'all along with me this morning and just show you how I'm gonna make this pork chop casserole. I don't think I've ever done this on my channel before. And it's really, really good. Roy and I don't do potatoes very much, so I don't do a lot of things with potatoes, but a lot of people do eat potatoes. They love potatoes. They have potatoes every day. It's just that we don't. I use quinoa. I use soybean pasta. I'll use beans. I'll use other things instead of potatoes or rice, because we try to stay away from the five whites, which y'all know is potatoes, rice, pasta, sugar, and wheat. And well, you may not know that, but that's what the five whites are. Okay, and I'm just going to do him 5 potatoes because that's all. It'll take me a couple of days to eat that. And the way I do my potato, I slice it in slices round like this. Okay, and about this thick, just like that. Okay, and I don't know why when this knife gets wet, my vegetables want to stick to it. I don't know why that is. Okay, and this will cook in the oven like on a 350 degrees for like an hour or until these potatoes get done. Now I am going to pre-cook I'm going to brown my pork loin, my pork chops, because they just taste better when you put them in a casserole if you brown them before you put them in your casserole. So I'm going to put these back in my water here to keep them from turning dark. I always have a bowl of water when I'm doing potatoes. I'll finish cutting those up in a minute, but I'm going to show you how I'm going to do my onion. And I've already got one cut up here. And I'm not going to put all of this onion in my casserole. I'm going to stew some squash in a little bit, and I'll use part of this onion. But I cut it in half, then I cut it in fourths, and then I just cut it in slices like this. And that's how I do my onion for my casseroles and for my squash, for my stewed squash. So you can see it's in pieces about like that. Okay. Okay, I am going to cut the rest of this onion up. I'm going to finish cutting my potatoes, And then when I start to brown my pork chops, then I'll come back. Well, I'm going to show you how I cut the pork chops. I've already shown you one time on an earlier video, but I'll show you again for my new subscribers how you can take a whole pork loin, and we got this one for $1.89 a pound at Aldi's, y'all. So I'm going to show you how I cut my pork chops, and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, y'all, I forgot to put my mic on earlier, and I decided I better put my apron on since I'm going to be pan frying these pork chops in the back. Okay, I'm about to turn my burner on medium high, and I'm going to put about 2 tablespoons of oil in my pan. But I wanted to show you. Now, you see this pork loin? This pork loin is, we got it at Aldi's. It's 5.5 pounds, $1.89, $10.55 for this big pork loin. Very, very little fat, no bone, and I will make at least 3 meals off of this, and maybe 4. So, but today I'm gonna make a pork chop and potato casserole. Now, I'm making this for Mike. I'm just gonna pan fry our pork chops because, like I said, we don't eat potatoes that much. So I just take my sharp knife and I cut this in chops, just like this. Look at there. No, I mean, very, very little fat. So I guess I'm cutting them a 1/2 inch thick. That's about how I like to cut them for my casseroles because they stay really moist like that when you cut them like that. Very little fat. I don't know. Let me get closer. You see that? Just that little old bitty thing of fat right there. And I'm going to leave that on them when I pan fry them because it makes more flavor. Okay? I'll do him about 5 pork chops to go in his casserole. It's not going to be a real big casserole, just enough for him a couple of meals. Okay, that's 3. 4. I don't know, 4 might be enough because these are big pork chops. And if I get a little piece of fat, I'll just cut it off. But I'll leave most of the little bit that's right there. Oh, I better do him another one, since this is going to last him for a couple of days. Okay. Look at that beautiful plate. Look how big those chops are. They are really big. Okay. Now I'm going to set this to the side. Clean up my mess. I'll get my dish towel that's got bleach. My sink always has bleach water in it. When I'm working with meat especially, I always keep bleach water. Okay, now, looking for my towel to dry my hands. Now I'm going to season these with salt and pepper. And I think that's probably all I'm going to put on his. I'll put a little garlic. Okay. Salt one side. I'm not going to put a whole lot of pepper because he has acid reflux pretty bad. So I don't do pepper a lot with him. Okay. And I'll sprinkle a little garlic on it. Turn it over. We'll do both sides. We'll season both sides. Wash my hands because I'm going to put them back in the salt. Okay, and I touched my meat. So, all right. And he has high blood pressure, so I don't use a whole lot of salt either. Okay. So I'll try to season his with garlic or something like that to give it flavor, since I try not to do a lot of salt for him. Okay. My pan is getting hot back here, and I'm going to move my camera around so you can see what I'm doing, and then we will brown our pork chops, and then we'll get this casserole put together. Okay, my pan is hot. Check and make sure my thing's on. My pan is hot, and we're just gonna pan fry these for a little bit. I've got it on like 8, which is a little above medium high on my stove, because I want to quickly brown them. I don't want to cook them done. I just want to quickly brown them, and then I'll put them in my casserole dish. Well, I put my potatoes in first. I'm gonna put my potatoes on the bottom. That way, all the juice from the pork chops can cook down into these potatoes. Okay. And I don't think it's gonna take all these potatoes, but so I just lay them in my dish like this. Can you see that? Okay. Probably it would work better in a wider and put them in a single layer, but it's going to be all right because I'm going to cover these and cook it like an hour and a half. So I'm going to salt these a little bit, because you do want to season your potatoes. I'm going to put a little bit of garlic. I'm not going to put any more black pepper though. Okay. Maybe I'll put a few more. Okay. All right. I'm going to turn them on up to 9, which is high. Well, mine has a high on it, and 9 is the next one down, because I want to quickly brown these. And I want a good brown on them so they can, so all that brown and all will make the potatoes really good. It'll just season it really good. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put my onions in here. And kind of brown them while I'm browning the pork chop. And that'll make this really, really rich and good. Okay. All right. When these get brown, I'm going to flip them over, and then we're going to put our casserole dish together. Okay. I am going to sprinkle just a little Worcestershire on this, just to give it a little extra flavor. That was probably 3 tablespoons of Worcestershire. And as y'all can see, I don't know if you can see, but they are really browning up nicely. Okay. Now you can do this. You don't have to put it in the oven, but you can do it in this one pan. You can do this. You can put your potatoes on top, put a lid on it, and cook it for about 30 minutes on top of the stove with the lid on it. And that's a quick way, but I'm going to be outside this morning, and I didn't want to have to do that. So I'm putting mine in a casserole dish and going to slide it in the oven. But it can be done in one dish right here on the stove. You just brown your pork chop, put your potatoes on top, season them, and we're going to use cream of mushroom soup. Uh, and put your lid on it, cook it 30 minutes until your potatoes get ready, and you've got a meal. That's the quick way of doing it. Okay? Let's see how pretty and brown that is. I'm just going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn my burner off. And this is my cream of mushroom soup. I'm going to mix it with just a little bit of milk. Get a spatula and get all this out. All right, I'm mixing it with just a little bit of milk so it will go down in between those potatoes and be really, really good. Okay, I think I'll put a little bit more milk. This is probably less than a half a cup, maybe a third cup of milk that I'm putting in here. And I'm only doing that so I can mix, so it'll make my cream of mushroom soup a little thinner. Okay, I'm going to pour some over my potatoes. Like that. All right, now I'm going to take my pork chops. Well, I'm going to put some onions down first. And you see how these onions kind of caramelize in here with these drippings from these pork chops? Makes it so good. So I put onions, some of the onions, down on my potatoes. Whew, this is going to be good, y'all. Well, I know it's good. Okay. Now, put my pork chops. I may not get all 5 of them in here because they're so big. Maybe I can. It's going to be pushing it, but I'm going to do it anyway. Okay. Now, I'll take the rest of the onions and the juice. You have a little bit of juice that cooks out, and you want all that goodness in your casserole. Okay. Now, I'm going to put the rest of my cream of mushroom soup over my pork chops. Now, this is going to all cook down into your potatoes, and it's going to be so good. All right, let me get all that goodness. Okay, y'all, this is going to be scrumptious. All right, I've got my foil. I'm going to cover it. And I'm going to cook it for about 45 minutes to an hour. Long enough for my potatoes to get soft. Okay. My oven is up to temp. I'm going to set my timer for 45 minutes and I'll check it. Sometimes your potatoes will take an hour, but sometimes they'll cook in 45 minutes. I find some potatoes are harder than others, so it takes them longer to cook. But I'm going to set my timer and then we'll bring you back when it gets ready. Okay, y'all. Our casserole is done. And I want you to look at there. Let me show you. Look. I put some carrots in it. I took it out of the oven and put some carrots in it. And it cooked an hour and 20 minutes. That's how long it took those potatoes to get done. But I'm not going to taste of it because it is so hot. y'all, but I know because I have cooked this for years and years. It is absolutely delicious. So it's just how quick and easy you can have a meal on the table. And I want to show you something. I told you that I was going to pan fry ours. Well, I did, but I put carrots and onions in it. Look at that. Now this is mine and Roy's without potatoes. And I am stewing up some squash that we're going to have with ours. So for $10.85, I have made this casserole. I have made our lunch back here, and y'all saw the piece that I had left that I put in the freezer, so that I'll have for another time. So thank y'all for joining me this morning. Please share this video. This is a delicious, delicious meal right here. Add a green salad or a green vegetable with it, and you have a meal. You can do it on top of the stove, like I said, or you can do it in the oven. Either way. Subscribe to my channel, share this video, hit that little notification bell, and remember, food feeds the family, family feeds the heart, God feeds the soul, and put deliciousness back in healthy food. Now, this is not gluten-free because it has the cream of mushroom soup. You can even put mushrooms in this if you want to. And I can make my own cream of mushroom soup, but Mike is not gluten-free, so he can eat it. So I do it the easy way I can. If I was doing mine and Roy's, putting cream of mushroom soup, I would make my own cream of mushroom soup. And I'll do a video on that. I've already shown you how to do cream of chicken, but I'll do a video on the cream of chicken again and the cream of mushroom for all of you out there that are gluten-free. So thank y'all for joining me. And as soon as my squash get ready, Roy and I are going to eat. And we'll see you next time.